Κυρίες και κύριοι, καλώς ορίσατε σε ακόμη ένα επεισόδιο της The One to One Diet. Σημερινός μου καλεσμένος ήρθε από την Αγγλία και είναι ο CEO, ο κύριος Chris McDermott. Did I say it wrong?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Chris McDermott?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. Welcome back in Cyprus.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great, thanks. I'm really, really happy and pleased to be back here in this wonderful island.
Thank you.
Love it here.
The last time that I saw you, it was last year's 2024, Summer of the Year, right? It was an unforgettable night.
It was good fun, that was.
You had a good time?
I had a great time. I had a good time. And you and your compere were really good fun.
Oh, thank
really,
you.
really
Thank
good
you
fun.
very much. This time we are here to talk about the one-to-one diet and the global impact, right? Mm-hmm. Can you tell us, like a brief history, how the one-to-one diet started back in the 80s?
Well, I mean, it's 41 years historical, the historical line. So I'll be very brief because I appreciate I could talk about this forever.
Sure.
So the concept is that there was a research scientist in Cambridge, the city of Cambridge, called Dr. Alan Howard, and he was trying to work out a way of creating a product or a sort of nutritional food product that could help people lose weight rapidly, safely. So he was trying to create what he called the perfect diet, the ability to consume just this product, and in doing so get all the vitamins and minerals that you need, but also, of course, burn lots of energy and burn lots of fat and lose lots of weight. This was in the 60s when he was doing this, 60s and the 70s. And he kind of cracked it around about the mid-1970s. But in those days, it was very much frowned upon that you took a sort of research idea and turn it into a commercial venture. Nowadays, of course, that's not the case. But then, back then, it was very difficult. And so he had quite a lot of resistance from quite a lot of people saying, well, I'm not sure this is going to work, and I don't think it's very ethical that you've taken this research and you want to now make some money out of it. But he kind of realized that the only way that this was going to get out and help as many people as possible was to try and commercialize it. So 70s carried on, did loads and loads of extra research around the safety and efficacy of the products. And then late 1970s, he met some American entrepreneurs who specifically came over to Cambridge to meet him and talk to him because they'd read an article in a research document about him, and they said, let's take this to the US, this would be fantastic. So he sort of gave the rights to the idea, which was at that stage called the Howard diet, it wasn't even called the Cambridge diet then, to these guys in the States, and they launched it in 1980 as the Cambridge diet, and it was an absolute rip-roaring success in the US.
Do you remember how many products at that time?
I think it was like 3 tubs.
Okay.
It was tubs, and it was vanilla, chocolate, strawberry. It roared in America. It was really successful because it was a very new concept. There was nothing had ever been created like it, and lots of Americans bought into it. Dr. Howard saw this and thought, gosh, this is really cool. So what he then did is he owned the rights to the rest of the world, and in 1984 he set up the Cambridge diet in the UK, and then he replicated what had happened in America in the UK, and off it went during the rest of the 80s. Then in the 90s it kind of sort of dropped down a bit. In the US it kind of dropped down a bit as well, and then in the early 2000s it took off again. So it's been a sort of seasonal, interesting journey, but it was all based on Dr. Howard's idea of he himself was overweight. He wanted to help himself, and then he wanted to help as many people as possible. And because the US system was based around counsellors, as they were called then, or consultants as we know today, the idea of the concept of the product and the people, the person, bringing those two things together gives it the magic that we all still enjoy today.
It's all about the people, right?
All about the people, big time.
Helping each other
is
the best advertisement, if I can say that.
Well, I mean, most consultants in most countries around the world that we operate in have been customers themselves, so they can talk with confidence and credibility about their experiences because they've undergone it. So when a new customer comes in and says, well, is it for me, and is it going to work, and how's it going to be, they can talk with absolute certainty. If you stick to the plan plan and you do what we tell you to do and how we tell you to do it. It'll be tough. There'll be moments in which you want to give up all of the human elements that people experience. They know that they can help those people do it because their consultant helped them go through the same experience.
And it's all about the plan also, right? I mean, all things in life, they have a plan.
Yeah.
So if you stick at that, you can manage.
Lots
right?
and lots of thought and work over the 41 years has gone into the plan to make it as successful as possible for people and as really well thought through. So it's not like we've just created it, you know, in half an hour in a marketing session. This is something that's developed over many years, and it's developed and it's demonstrated its success. So it's not as if you know, will it work? You know, will it work with me? Which is a lot of questions that a lot of consumers have. Well, yes, but if you've got to do it right. You've got to stick to it, and you've got to listen to your consultant, and you've got to follow them, and you've got to take their advice. Those two things coming together, yes, it will work.
So, Chris, how did the One-to-One Diet become the global brand that it today?
Well, it's really interesting because it's a continuation of that idea of the people. So a lot of our distributors, and Cyprus would be a perfect example, were set up by people who'd experienced the products somewhere around the world. So a couple of weeks ago I was in Jordan, talking to our Jordan distributors, here today in Cyprus. Next week I'm in Holland. And all of those countries, those people who started those businesses were people who'd used the products themselves. And then so our distributor network is almost an extension of our consultant network, except that we've got this brilliant combination of people in our successful distributors who've combined the sort of human stuff, the human understanding of I get what this product's trying to do, I understand the journey that people are going on, combined with great business skills, great business ideas, real innovation, vision, leadership, all of those things. You get those two things coming together, you get a product like ours, you get a business like ours, and then the idea is that we take all those brilliant people and they go around into the various different countries around the world and grow those businesses. So it's kind of happened very organically, and in doing so it's been incredibly fulfilling and exciting to be able to travel to different countries around the world and see very different cultures with very different expectations of the product, but having very similar experiences. So
and different stories also.
Different stories, but the same. So one of my big learnings about being the CEO.
Μια γρήγορη αναφορά στον χορηγό μας, την The One-to-One Diet by Cambridge Weight Plan. Αν προσπαθείς να ισορροπήσεις δουλειά, οικογένεια και υποχρεώσεις και η υγεία σου έχει μείνει στο παρασκήνιο, αυτή η λύση μπορεί πραγματικά να σε βοηθήσει. Με έναν προσωπικό σύμβουλο που δημιουργεί ένα πλάνο κομμένο και ραμμένο στα μέτρα σου και πάνω από 40 νόστιμα υποκατάστατα γεύματος, επανακτάς την υγεία σου χωρίς περιττό άγχος. Βρες περισσότερες πληροφορίες στον σύνδεσμο της περιγραφής. Επιστρέφουμε πίσω στο επεισόδιο.
One of my big learnings about being the CEO and being able to visit so many countries is that the world actually is a very small place, and people's experiences. You can be somewhere like Vietnam, and it feels like it's a very different type of culture. It feels like a very different place, and yet the stories that people are telling, and the experiences that they have, and the challenges and the emotion that they express are exactly the same as people here in Cyprus, people in the UK, people in Malaysia, Australia. So in one sense the world's very big, in another sense it's very small.
Super. I've heard an inspiring story that you rise to CEO.
Yes, I started right at the very beginning. So in 2003, I joined the company. I was very excited to join the business. I saw an ad in the newspaper. So it's a very old school, and I thought, wow, that looks exciting. And I couldn't, for the life of me, understand why there wasn't any PR being done about the Cambridge diet as it was then. So my job when I joined was to be the company's first PR person, and my job was to try and get some PR for the 20th anniversary in 2004, which I didn't actually succeed in doing. It was very, very difficult to do. It was very hard. And so I came into the business and I loved it. I loved it the moment I arrived. And I hope I've still got the same sort of energy and enthusiasm for it 22 years later, because it was so exciting. And my job in the early days was to go and visit as many consultants in the UK as I could and try and convince them to work with me to do some stories for UK media. So I met lots and lots of consultants. I met lots and lots of slimmers. And over the years, I've probably met hundreds and hundreds of people who've lost weight and interviewed them and spoken to them about their experiences. And that was really exciting. And I probably could have stayed doing that forever because it was so great to work at a place, to work in a business where we were doing all the manufacturing and all of that sort of technical stuff, and then go and see the actual physical change in people right there on the front line. To see that whole journey was really, really rewarding. Goodness me. So the business, when I joined, there were a couple of things that happened that were very positive. We did get some great PR in 2005, and it just kind of exploded again in the UK. So we'd had the 80s that were really big, 90s was a bit sort of fallow, and then the 2000s just went mad. And I just happened to be, by luck almost, luck and a little bit of design, right in the middle of all of that as it kind of exploded. And so we needed a PR department all of a sudden, and there was only me, so we got extra people to come in, and then we needed a PR and marketing department because we hadn't got a marketing department. Which is very important. Which we had to do, so because we got loads of stuff, we had loads of distributors wanting us to do all sorts of stuff, and so it just kind of grew and grew and grew. And I found myself becoming the PR and marketing director, and I'd never been a director of a business before, so that was very exciting. That was a huge jump. That was the biggest jump, I think, in my career, going from a manager to a director. That's a big, big leap, more so than a director to a CEO, I think. And so the business kind of grew up, and I was in the middle of it, and I could have stayed where I was, but there was always a little bit of me that wanted to do more. There was always a bit... I'm the sort of person that always likes to sort of climb over the next hill. I'm always very keen to see what's over there, what's just over there. And so I was able to go into the international part of the business and learn a lot about international trade and international business and how international operations work and how they interact with the UK. And then in 2014, 2015, the opportunity came up to apply for the CEO role. My boss, who had been the CEO for sort of 20 years before me, was very keen for me to at least apply. So she'd helped me over the preceding couple of years to really get as much exposure of the business as possible. But it still was a moment where I had to say, do I want to do this? Because I really, really love what I'm doing. It's really great.
I can see that, actually.
It's great. It's really great. And do I really want to do this? Because this is a different type of job, and there's a different type of responsibility, and there's a lot more... Responsibility. It's not really pressure, but it's responsibility. You're responsible for a lot of people,
yes, of
and a lot of people's livelihoods. But it was like, yeah, but that's just over the next hill. I can just see. I can just go over climb that next mountain. So I went for it and was very, very excited and very pleased to get the job. And here I am 10 years later, with 10 years worth of CEO experience behind me, for good and bad. And I still feel as if I've got the energy and the enthusiasm that I had all those years ago, because I just love it. It's such a great business. I love it to bits.
What do you do before the one-to-one diet?
So before, it was an interesting journey. So I actually grew up in South Africa, and I became a jeweler. So I'm a qualified goldsmith.
Bravo.
I did an apprenticeship, and I qualified, and I did jewellery for a couple of years, and I got really bored with jewellery because it's almost the opposite job of people, because it's just like you sit on a bench, you make jewellery. It's very creative, but it's really boring. My brother and my father are jewellers, so hopefully I can talk to them before they see this. And so I thought, no, I'm fed up of this. So I was about 24. I'd got my son, who's now like 29, was 6 months old, and I thought I've got enough money to go back to college and train at something else. So I'll go and do journalism. So I went to college in the UK. I'd got enough money for a year, so I did 2 years in one, and I studied journalism and radio, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
You have the voice.
I do,
actually.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
You have the voice.
I could see myself doing my own morning show. It'd be so great. It'd be brilliant. I'd love it. And really, really enjoyed journalism, but couldn't get a journalism job. I wanted to work for the BBC. I wanted to do the news on the BBC. That would have been great. But I couldn't get a job in the BBC. Anyway, I managed to get a job in PR, which is not that far away from journalism. And that's how I got into PR, did some PR jobs, became an account manager, all the sort of standard stuff. And then I found the Cambridge job. And it was just like coming home. It was just like, this is what I want to do. This I get. I get to meet so many interesting people, but I also get to be part of a really exciting business. I learn how all of that works, learn how international trade works, but also still get to meet loads of fun people, and also have the opportunity to travel to places like Cyprus, which when I was very young living in South Africa, I would never have dreamt that I would have been able to come to the places that I've come to and have so much fun. And here I am. And I mean, I'm almost like a veteran here in Cyprus.
True story.
I've been here lots and lots of times, and I love it when we fly in, and I now know bits of it, and I know where certain parts of it are, and I just love it. One of the things I do when I travel is I go for runs. So wherever I am, I get up early and I go for a morning run. And I did that this morning on the promenade in Larnaca. And it was during the run that it came to me what I could talk about, because I was really struggling with it. So a couple of months ago, I was at a direct sales event, and it was at a hotel that we'd used about 15 years ago for our Slimmer of the Year event. And it was at that Slimmer of the Year event that we read out the wrong name of the Slimmer winner.
Wow.
It's still
super.
It's like a belter. So it's still there's a sort of mythology within the company about what actually happened and how it all came about. But it was a very, very interesting experience to go through, as you can imagine. Now, at that stage, I was the PR and marketing director, so it was my responsibility. I was ultimately responsible for it, and it was a bit like when there's a terrible thing happen to I don't know, something breaks down. And there's all of these things that happen, and at any time it could have been stopped. But for whatever reason, somebody explained to me it's a bit like Swiss cheese. You have all the holes, and hopefully you can't get through the cheese because all the holes aren't lined up. But occasionally all the holes line up and everything goes straight through. Well, it was one of those jobs, and so it happened that we were all on the stage. There was 1,000 people there, and the name that the celebrity presenter read out was the wrong name.
And what do you do?
And what do you do? What do you do? Well, what I did was stand there and see my life flash in front of me and go...
Το επεισόδιο αυτό υποστηρίζεται από την The One-to-One Diet by Cambridge Weight Plan. Ήξερες ότι η διατροφή αυτή δημιουργήθηκε το 1984 από ειδικό βιοχημικό και έκτοτε έχει βοηθήσει εκατομμύρια ανθρώπους να ανακτήσουν την υγεία τους? Πίσω από κάθε προϊόν και κάθε καταρτισμένο σύμβουλο της The One-to-One Diet υπάρχει πάνω απ' όλα μια ιστορία και μια φιλοσοφία. Πάρε την απόφαση και εσύ να εμπιστευτείς μια λύση η οποία νοιάζεται για εσένα και τις ιδιαιτερότητές σου. Ρίξε μια ματιά στον σύνδεσμο της περιγραφής. Το αξίζεις.
And it was really like everything slowed down. It was like you see in the movies, everything slowed down, and you kind of stuck in slow motion. And so the winner, who's not the winner, goes mad because they've won, and it's a big deal to win.
Yes,
goodness me, comes up onto the stage, everybody's clapping and everything. I'm looking at my guys, they're looking at me, we're all looking at each other going, this isn't the winner. But we all went on to slow motion. We just kind of we sort of went through the process of giving them the reward, and so and that was the end of the event. And then there was a dinner in the evening, and about a month before, we'd all been on. So the senior managers in the company, the directors, had all been on a crisis management like a crisis training course. And this was to do with if a journalist knocks on your door and says whatever, because we like to be prepared for all eventualities. And the crisis management thing that we'd gone through said You have to act very quickly. So if there's a crisis, you must move fast. You must be as honest as you possibly can be. You must alleviate the system. Don't lie. Don't make stuff up. But try as best as you can to move as quickly as possible to get to a point where you can see the crisis through. And that's what we did. After this unfortunate winner walked off the stage. So me and my boss, who was the CEO, and the PR manager, we got together and we said, right, okay, this is a major cock-up. Yes, getting away from it. Okay, so what do we do? Well, we need to go and tell her that she's not the winner. We need to find the winner. We need to move quickly. We need to move fast. And so we did all of those things, and it was very, very difficult to do. It was very unfortunate. We tried to be as kind as we possibly could be, but was also a winner that hadn't yet won that we needed to go and find. So we found them, and then we had all of those conversations, and they were very difficult. Some of them were very difficult conversations to have. At the end of it, I think that everybody was at least understood the situation. And then in the evening, we hadn't planned it. In the evening, we stood up, we owned it, we said we'd made a mistake. We'd done, it had just been this unfortunate series of events, but this is who the real winner is, and we'll really, go on from there. And the atmosphere within the room was just fantastic. It was electric. And I think afterwards, in fact, I don't think I know because people told us. Afterwards, we got so many positive comments from people. Not for the messing up, because we'd messed up, but for the way that we dealt with it and the speed in which we dealt with it. We hadn't tried to cover it up. We'd been very honest and very open, but it needed to be remedied, and it needed to be remedied as quickly as possible. So that was my experience, a near-death experience from a business perspective. And I was prepared to resign because it was such a terrible thing to do. It was such a mistake. And yet, actually, what came out of it was that was really, we learnt a lot. As people, but also as a business, in how to deal with things when they go bad quickly.
Oh my God, I can't imagine what's going on at that time.
Wow.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank God we never had that.
Well, yes, we've had all sorts of things
difficult.
happen to us since, but that's never happened again.
Chris, what's the best piece of business advice you ever received?
Yeah, so I was sitting in a bar with my boss so Eileen, who was the boss before me. We were sitting in it wasn't really a bar, it was a hotel bar in Malaysia, and we were watching tennis on the telly. And I had unrealistic expectations about how good she was. So I thought my boss never made any mistakes. I thought, because I really respected her and I really liked her. And so we were sitting there and we were watching tennis. And the tennis guy hits a thing and he makes a mistake or whatever. And I said, I think tennis and golf are really, really tough, aren't they? Because you have to sort of, if you make a bad shot or if you hit a bad ball, you have to kind of put that behind you and then move on to the next thing. And you have to kind of not allow the weight of that to take you forward. And she said to me, yeah, that's exactly what it's like in business. That's exactly how you have to operate, certainly if you're a CEO, because you're not going to get, there's all sorts of stuff you're going to get wrong, and there's things you don't know, and there's stuff the mistakes that you make. But you can't, it's a bit like being a golfer. You can't allow those mistakes to influence the next shot. You have to walk to the next hole. It's exactly the same as it was before. It's all about your mental state and the way you approach things. And so try as best as you can because you're going to make mistakes and those things are going to happen. You're going to hit the ball, skew it off and go into the water or whatever. Those things will happen. It's not like everybody's perfect. It's how you react to that and how you overcome the voice in your head saying, well, if you hit that shot, you're going to hit the next shot bad as well. It's having the confidence to say, well, I hit that one. I've learned from that. I'm going to hit the next one. I'm going to try and do it better.
Thank you. I can thank your ex-boss because it's a very good advice, actually.
Yeah.
That you share that with us. It's very important.
And when she said to me, that's how I sort of. She didn't say it like this, but she sort of implied this. This is how I lead the business. I was like, wow, because I didn't think she made any mistakes, and I didn't think I thought she was infallible.
She's a person, though.
Of course, yeah.
Yes.
And so it really humanised her because she was being very honest with me, and it also gave me the courage. It was one of the reasons why I applied for the job. Because he gave me the courage to think, well, I'm not perfect. There's a load of stuff I need to learn. I
can do it.
But I've at least got the courage to try the next shot.
Oh, wow. That was very inspiring, actually. It has been said that the one-to-one diet is the most researched diet in the world, right? Can you give some examples of breakthrough research and how sets the diet apart from the others?
Yeah, I mean, it's
very important.
It
for
is the
people
most.
to understand.
I would say it's the most researched diet in the world. I certainly think over the 42 years.
Η σημερινή εκπομπή υποστηρίζεται από την The One-to-One Diet by Cambridge Weight Plan. Αν έχεις παρατηρήσει αλλαγές στο σώμα σου, στον μεταβολισμό σου ή απλώς χρειάζεσαι λίγη περισσότερη ενέργεια και ισορροπία, αυτό το πλάνο προσφέρει πραγματική εξατομικευμένη υποστήριξη, με έναν προσωπικό σύμβουλο που σε καθοδηγεί και προσαρμόζει το πρόγραμμα στις ανάγκες σου και με γεύματα πραγματικά απολαυστικά, χορταστικά, εύκολα και θρεπτικά. Η The One-to-One Diet σου παρέχει τον απόλυτο συνδυασμό της επιτυχίας, αφού πίσω της υπάρχουν 40 χρόνια ιστορίας και εμπειρίας. Μπες στον σύνδεσμο της περιγραφής για να μάθεις περισσότερα.
The amount of work, the amount of research that's been done by people within the ecosphere of very low calorie diets and low calorie diets, but also the scrutiny that it's had from legislation, from governments, from nutritionists, all that. That's been very important as well. I'd say there was the very, very early research that was done that kind of proved the point that that VLCDs, very low calorie diets, could work and that they were safe. That was very, very important. But the research that was done sort of in the last 10 years or so in the UK, which was the direct and the droplet studies, those were the ones that proved that it worked within a clinical setting. So the NHS in the UK was very keen, or has been very keen, to use very low calorie diets, but they wanted extra type of research. So they wanted research to show that it worked in a clinical setting, that people lost the weight and that they could sustain the weight loss, because that's the big challenge for all sorts of weight loss brands. And so Droplet and Direct we were part of that. In terms of we helped to put that research together to prove that you could work it within a clinical setting and you could keep the weight off for longer. And that was such an they were so extraordinarily successful that last year, in the 40th anniversary year of the one-to-one, the UK, the NHS, said, right, we're going to roll this out. So they were trialling VLCDs, TDRs. And they said, right, we're going to take it out now, way out into. We're going to make it as easy as possible for people in the UK through the health service to go on total diet replacements and meal replacements. And that for us was the moment in which all of the research that Dr. Howard did, all the belief that he had in all those years, and all the belief that people within the business who aren't with us anymore, who come and joined and left, believed in, that moment was the moment in which it came into fruition. It came to reality, because it was the NHS in the UK is a very big organisation. It's very difficult to move because it's so huge. And they said, yeah, we believe in this, and we think this is safe. We think this is going to work, and actually we want more people to use it. And so that moment, based on the research that we did, based on the 40 years worth of work that others have done, was the moment in which it became a mainstream product.
Ooh. Wow. How can the small island of Cyprus, from the other side, be so significant in a global company that operates in over 20 countries?
Yeah. So Cyprus is a very interesting place. I love it to bits. I think there's the reason why it's been so successful here is there are two reasons. I think it's geography. It's a very small. It's not a very small, but it's a small enclosed. Obviously, it's an island, which makes it easier to operate in if you've got really good people on the ground. You've got, and certainly a place like Cyprus, you need Cypriots. You need people who really get the culture. So I think there's an element of that. And then I think it's the team that have been built here. And we're talking now here in Cyprus as second generation distributors. So really understand the business, really understand the psyche of the Cypriot consultants and the Cypriot consumers. So I think you've got a combination of the geography of the place, and then you've got a really good team here that have pulled those two things together. Now, in absolute terms, it's not the biggest market. So in terms of how much we actually sell here, so in the UK and other markets are bigger. But in terms of per person, it is the biggest market that we've got. So it's a market leader in Cyprus, and it is in terms of per person, the biggest market that we.
That's huge
That,
for
which
a
is,
small island.
For a small island, it is absolutely amazing, and I do think so. There's a lot of word of mouth. Obviously, word of mouth with social now is very important. So there's all of that going on. I think the consultants here are really good. They're very well trained. They're very, very highly thought of by us back in the UK. And then I think the team that set it up here originally, who'd come over from the UK because they'd had their sort of Cambridge diet experiences in the UK, and then the second generation of the family who've sort of grown up within this environment really get it, but also are very contemporary, very forward-thinking, very much, what can we do next? A bit like, let's go over the next mountain, let's find the next place to go to. So it's been this wonderful, beautiful coming together of all of these various different sort of strands into this one kind of place.
It's about the team.
Very much so here.
Very
yeah,
much.
yeah. I mean, running a people business isn't easy. It's because you're dealing with so many different types of people, and to lead businesses like that, you need to be very strong.
Of course.
Because otherwise, you could get pulled in 100,000 different directions.
Sure.
Because everybody wants you to run the business for the benefit of them, and and with networks, that's very challenging. So you have to have people who really get and understand what's going on. So it's all very much about people. It all comes, everything really with our business comes back down to the people. And I think the people here in Cyprus, both the team that are running the business, but also the relationship they have with their consultants and the relationship the consultants have with their customers, I think it's all come together beautifully in Cyprus. And we're very proud back in the UK, back at GHQ, about the work that's been done here. And as I say, the stories here are very Cypriot, and yet they are very global as well.
Come on, tell the truth. You love our hospitality and the weather also.
I love it. I just, well, I've had so...
And the food.
I do love the food. I've had so many great experiences and so much fun here. It is a great place. It's a really, really fun place to be.
Thank you. How important do you think leadership is in the business?
I think in our type of business particularly, where you do have the potential to be pulled in 100 different ways by very strong characters, particularly from the consultant network. I think leadership so leadership is absolutely vital, but it's the type of leadership that's really important. So what sort of leader do you need to be to run a business like ours, a direct sales business? Well, you need to be somebody that absolutely understands the business and understands the psyche of it, but also has the confidence and the courage sometimes to be able to create a vision of a future and then take as many people with you as possible to that future. And sometimes in a direct sales business, that's very difficult to do because you've got loads and loads of different people who all want the business to work in a certain way. And the strength of leadership in the centre is to say, well, I hear all of those voices, I see where everything is, where I sit. It's a bit like, so the analogy I use is a bit like there's a dance floor, and when you're a manager, you're on the dance floor and you're giving it all this, and you're doing your I'm still doing my 80s moves because that's all I know how to do. And then you dance around, and you're very much in the moment, and you're very much in the sort of energy of it all. And then when you become a CEO or you become a leader, you have to go from the dance floor to the balcony. And the balcony is a different place, and you have to use different types of skills. You can see the dance floor, and you can see what's happening, and you can see all the movements. But also on the balcony, you can see over and above. You can see into the future, and combining those two things. So you can't spend all your time over here, but you can't spend all your time
you have
down
to be
there.
on the dance floor.
You have to have both of those things at the same time. And I think that's for this type of business, our kind of business, that's the key, to be able to have the confidence to be able to stand on the balcony and look down and then look up, and then stand in the dance floor and understand what's going on, but know that there's a balcony view as well.
Ooh, I love the answer. Thank you.
Okay.
What's your vision for the future of the one-to-one diet?
So I think the one-to-one has got... So we've just done 40 years. We've got 41. In Cyprus next year, it's 20th anniversary,
Yes.
which is absolutely I can't wait to come back next year for that. I really will. I'm really excited about it. So we've got lots of history and we've got lots of credibility. And I feel very privileged to be the custodian of the brand and the business at the moment. But in 40 years' time, there'll be other people. There'll be new people doing things, different things. And I think, so my vision for those people in 40 years' time is that we've really nailed down and got so nutrition, the nutrition that we do, the way that we operate, has become so mainstream and so normal that in fact people don't think anything of it. They think this is how I'm going to do it. There's lots and lots of competitors, lots and lots of challenges, but what's at the core of our business is this flame idea, which is that there's this really important thing that needs to be protected, which is the relationship between the consultant and the slimmer. That's a very beautiful thing, and it's a very precious thing, and actually it's quite a fragile thing. So my vision of the business and what I hope I can pass on to the next generation of leaders is this idea that we carry this flame, and I know this might sound a little bit sort of woohoo, but it is true. We carry this flame. It's a very important thing that we do. We offer something incredibly transformational, and we really are. Lots of businesses say they transform people's lives. We really do, I know that because I've met loads of people who've done it, and I've listened to those transformation ideas. And so there's this kind of really precious thing in the middle, and there's lots of storms around, and there's lots of wind, and there's all that kind of stuff. But the idea is to hold the flame close and to pass it to the next generation. There's all sorts of challenges that we're going to experience over the next 40 years. But if the next generations of people can keep the flame close, which is the relationship between the consultant and the slimmer, the brand, the business, all of those things coming together, then we can't go far wrong, because we know what we've got is incredibly powerful. It works very well. You get lots of nutritional support. You get lots of support anyway. You get lots of nutritional support. You get lots of help. It's all personal. It's all about helping those people go through those experiences. And losing weight's a hard thing to do. Let's not get away from it.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So my vision is that we've got, in 40 years' time, we've got the same. It'll be very different in terms of the world, but we've still got the same central idea, the same central core, which Dr. Howard had back in 1980 and that we'll have in 2000 and whatever, which is that there is this unique relationship between the slimmer, the business and the consultant. And those two things, as long as we keep that safe, and we can innovate around and we can do all sorts of stuff, as we will do, and the world will change, but we keep that safe and secure, then we can't go far wrong.
Ooh. Thank you so much. It was very nice having this talk with you.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed it.
You like the beach?
I'm okay with the beach, you know.
You're not so far. Okay, I was going to tell you, let's go to the beach. Okay, let's go for a coffee.
Let's go for a coffee. That'll be great.
Thank you so much. I'll see you maybe next year.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, next year's the big one.
Exactly.
Next year's the biggie.
I'm not sure I'm going to be there because they didn't tell me anything.
Word. Oh dear. Okay, cut now.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Cheers.
Thank you.